What if fear is not the evidence that something is wrong in the world, but evidence that you are trusting in the wrong source of strength? Could it be that what you call pressure is simply the weight of false self-reliance? Today, we are contemplating lesson 47. God is the strength in which I trust. And this lesson dismantles one of the ego's deepest perceptual errors, the belief that you and your safety depends on your personal strength, on your own ability to egoically control, or on the limited intelligence that you have accumulated in this lifetime. The lesson quietly exposes the arrogance that is beneath all anxiety, and that's the belief that you must foresee, control, solve, and guarantee the outcomes that you want. The ego says something like, you must manage everything. You must figure it out. You must hold it all together. If not you, then who? Right. And the Course replies, if you trust in what is weak, then fear is inevitable. Because, of course, the body is fragile, the personality is inconsistent, circumstances are certainly unpredictable. So if that is our foundation, then of course anxiety is the logical outcome. Let's take a look now. How does this pattern actually show up to govern our everyday experience? We can begin with money. So feeling a constant pressure because your security seems to be tied to your performance, to numbers on a screen, to outcomes. In relationships, you try to control perception, the perception that the other has of you, control your tone, control your reactions, because, of course, love feels uncertain and fragile. If you're a parent, you might carry the weight of getting it right, as if your personal effort alone is what determines your child's destiny. When it comes to business, you might oscillate between confidence and doubt, depending on simply short-term results. In health, this is obvious as well, where every symptom becomes a threat because the body is perceived as your foundation. So in every case, the very same pattern. When trust is placed in something unstable, fear becomes rational. And yet this lesson is not trying to humiliate us by saying that we are weak. Not at all. It is about liberating you from trusting in weakness as your source of strength. It says, yes, the personal self cannot control everything. The ego cannot guarantee safety. The body and circumstances are indeed unstable. But beneath all of that, there is a place in you where nothing is impossible, where perfect peace exists, and where the strength of God, the one infinite creator, abides. And the moment you shift trust from the ego to that source, fear loses its entire foundation. Not because the world changed, but because the cause of fear was removed. And now, let's take our contemplation deeper. I want to invite you to let your body relax, to take a deeper breath. Let it expand you. And as you exhale, drop deeper into presence. Just this, here and now. And as you rest in this greater stillness and silence, gently place the central idea in your mind. God, the infinite creator, is the strength in which I trust. See if you can come into contact with the possibility that this statement is wholly true, that omnipotence is indeed the strength, the power in which you trust. Not your body, not your cleverness, not anything you've learned or figured out, but the very source of creation itself is what sustains you. Take these next few moments to look at your life, your thoughts, through this lens. And now let's begin to unfold our contemplation into dialogue. And the very first question that I want to bring to us is this. This lesson exposes how much fear is born from trusting in personal strength, in trying to predict, control, manage outcomes we can't even fully see. So Shanti, if fear is the byproduct of this self-reliance, what does it actually mean to transfer trust from me to God?
That's a solid starting point. It's like, well, the ego really likes to be the hero, right? Like it needs to be the competent one, the prepared one. And if you're trusting yourself to handle everything, there's all this anxiety underneath that whole project of control. So transferring trust feels like the opposite, that shift from trying to be the hero to just allowing. But it feels like more than just a different strategy. It's almost like giving up the story entirely.
Yeah, it seems like you can't really hold on to the story of separation and give over your essentially control, right? We're essentially talking about surrender because you're either trusting in your ego's cleverness, in the experience of this lifetime, in your body, in your possessions to provide you with that sense of security and safety, or you're trusting the infinite creator.
Right. That's a pretty basic choice when you lay it out like that. Either you're trusting the illusion you made up, or something that doesn't even feel contained by you. Like the creator's not having to calculate and solve problems like we think we do. There's just everything happening exactly as it should. It's wild how much mental energy goes into being scared of stuff that might not even be real threats.
Well, I think right about zero of the things we are scared about and try to prepare for are real threats. They never arrive in quite the way that we envisioned, nor are we ever prepared in quite the way we envisioned. Primarily what's happening is that we've basically kind of scared ourselves in our own mind.
Yeah, it's almost like we're crafting narratives of disaster that never actually show up. Then we spend our whole lives carrying around this anxiety about things that were made up to begin with, when what's actually showing up is just the present moment, which is always workable in some way.
Yeah. Well, we've noticed over the course of our conversations that the ego equates strength with control, right? With being prepared and competent and somehow strategically ahead of life. But if control were truly strength, if it were truly power, then why would it produce anxiety instead of peace?
Right. That's like the whole contradiction right there. I'm controlling everything so I'm safe, except the control thing makes you anxious. The ego might call that vigilance, but it really feels like a lot of tension around something that's not actually happening yet. Seems like maybe control isn't strength at all. Maybe it's just really elaborate avoidance.
Well, it's almost weakness, to be honest, right? We go from a state of, let's say, peace or equanimity or presence into something that diminishes our energy, contracts it, right? And this lesson suggests that recognizing our weakness in this sense is not some form of humiliation, it is a perceptual correction. Something in us might resist admitting that we can't handle it alone, but at the core, we are invited to essentially dissolve that identity, right? The one when we stop pretending that we're the source of our own power, what is it that dissolves?
That hits something right there. The thing that dissolves feels like the story of me doing it, the narrative of your accomplishments and failures and all the careful planning that keeps life from falling apart. And once that story loosens, there's just space. No more identity riding on every outcome. It's terrifying, yeah, because where would you be without the story? But maybe the relief of not carrying that whole weight would be worth whatever that uncertainty feels like.
It is just presence and story, right? That's essentially what we are choosing in between. I mean, the Course calls it love and fear, but at the foundational, mechanical, practical level, we're either immersed in a story, and that's all that ever dissolves, or we are present with the presence of now and already recognizing that all is well, here and now in this instant.
Yeah, that makes it really practical. Presence feels like just what is. Like when you don't have some future problem you're trying to solve or some past mistake you're replaying, there's nothing wrong with what's happening right now. The story keeps finding things to be anxious about. But in the actual moment, there's this spaciousness that feels innocent somehow. Like there's nothing to fix, nothing to do.
Yeah. And in the exercise of this lesson, we're invited into that spaciousness. We're invited to slip past the surface concerns of the mind, the inadequacy or self doubt, and to reach that place of real safety within. What is it actually that we encounter there when we move beyond the surface noise of the mind?
Honestly, it feels completely ordinary. Like the breath you're breathing, the sounds around you, that feeling of being held by something bigger than yourself. It's like we keep thinking it's going to be this spectacular mystical experience, but when the anxiety settles, it's just this simple awareness that we've carried all along. Like the body keeps working even when you're totally stressing about every possible disaster. We're being sustained in every moment, regardless of what the thoughts are saying. That body you've got, still breathing, while the thoughts are yelling about impending doom.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's stillness, like being home.
Yeah. Then this is, I think, what it's pointing to as the lesson says, that we'll know we've reached this inner place of strength by the feeling of deep peace. And is that peace really the result of problems being solved? Or is it the evidence that our trust has finally shifted?
Right, yeah. It's definitely not from solving the problems. It's the other way around. When peace is showing up on its own, like when you're not frantically managing or making it happen, that's when you know trust has shifted. The peace doesn't depend on external stuff being okay, it just is. Like there's something underneath the chaos that doesn't even need the chaos to settle down to feel good.
Just like watching a movie, right? Like in the movie, there could be all kinds of things that are unresolved, but that does not mean that we are in anxiety about what the outcome of a particular movie character is. I think this is the deeper invitation, is to begin to witness. Witness not only like, oh, that's okay, I'm not affected by life, but also witness the amazing perfection of life. That the breath does breathe itself, that the heart does beat itself, that every moment that you actually notice, you realize, well, I am well in this moment. Like, I am alive and sustained.
Yeah, it's like suddenly you're not the one doing all the work. Your heartbeat just happens. You don't have to solve breathing. Like all this maintenance is just taken care of. What does this even mean, that there's a kind of support that's always here? It's not something to earn, it just is. And when you finally let that in, there's a kind of restfulness.
Yeah. So if God is then truly the strength in which we trust, then we are no longer the manager of outcomes, right? And Shanti, what is it that really shifts? Like, what burdens actually fall away when responsibility for survival is surrendered to something infinite?
Oh, wow. What falls away feels like the whole performance, all that trying to prove something to somebody, to be good or worthy enough to deserve good stuff happening. The need to strategize your existence to survive. The weight of having to build your identity from everything you do. Like when there's zero identity, there's no need to prove anyone, no need to worry if anyone will be proud or impressed or notice. Just what is. That's actually kind of hilarious when you think about it.
How do you mean?
Like all the seriousness we take ourselves with. It's kind of funny how much energy gets spent trying to impress some imaginary judge in our head, or worrying what others think. It's this whole elaborate production we're putting on for ourselves, and it suddenly feels so unnecessary. Like, maybe we're here just to be. Whatever happens is happening without us even needing to manage it.
Well, I think this is why the Course talks about this as an insane world, right? It's absolutely, like, on the one hand, hilarious how we're sitting in perfect safety of the now and constantly using our imagination to scare ourselves to a greater or lesser degree. But for most human beings, that ongoing sense of separation is indeed ongoing. And on the other hand, I mean, it's also a little bit tragic in the sense of how much suffering we inflict on ourselves and on each other out of this incredible delusion.
Yeah, it's like we're having an amazing dream, but we've gotten totally lost in the nightmare parts. And it's tragic because we really believe that the nightmare is real. Like we're grieving and suffering over stuff that's just thoughts. It's almost like we forgot there's a lucid dreaming switch somewhere and we could just wake up. It makes you want to laugh and cry at the same time.
Yeah, indeed. And as we come to the close of this contemplation together, what is something that you can maybe help to point out for us as students of the course and practitioners of this lesson that might be entirely in our blind spots? Something that may be an obstacle to us fully embodying the gift that this lesson's holding out for us.
I think it's the belief that this has to be earned, that it's somehow a journey with steps to complete. There's so much mental striving with spiritual stuff, this I need to DOX to get Y, you know? But this lesson feels more like what is already true. The trust isn't something to build, it's to recognize the piece is already here, and to think you need to work towards it is actually what's blocking it. So maybe the biggest blind spot is that there's nowhere to get to, and nothing to achieve.
That's beautiful. Really well put. So at the core of it, it is about recognition. Recognizing that there's a place in you where there's perfect peace. A place where nothing is impossible. Where the strength of God already abides. This is our invitation, not to make this place, not to get to this place, but to recognize it. So if today you're willing to trust that place more than you trust the voice of fear, I want to invite you to comment the word strength in the comment section below the video, to mark and acknowledge this moment for yourself and to remember it as the turning point of your journey, the moment where you decided to trust in the mystery, in the unknown, in the divine, to be your source of strength, moment by moment. And now, let us go into the silence.